The big spaceship came out of nowhere. 1 minute, the sky over New York was normal. The next, a huge ship that looked like a shiny silver whale was there. It was so big that it covered the sun, making the city dark. People on the streets stopped and looked up. Some screamed. Others took out their phones to take pictures. Cars stopped in the middle of the road. It was chaos. In her office, Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Space Force got a call. "Captain, you need to see this," said a nervous voice. Sarah ran to the window and saw the alien ship. Her heart beat fast, but she stayed calm. This was the moment she had trained for. "Get me the president," she said to her assistant. "Now." While she waited, Sarah thought about all the movies she had seen about aliens coming to Earth. Would they be friendly? Or did they come to fight? She hoped it wasn't the second one. The alien ship didn't do anything for an hour. It just sat there in the sky, quiet and still. Then a voice came from it. It was so loud that everyone in the city could hear it. "People of Earth," the voice said in perfect English, "we come in peace. We are the Galactic Council. We invite you to join us." Sarah's phone rang. It was the president. "Chen," he said, "you're our best space captain. I want you to talk to these aliens. Find out what they want, and don't let them know how scared we are." Sarah nodded, even though the president couldn't see her. "Yes, sir," she said. "I'll do my best." A few hours later, Sarah was in a big room with other world leaders. They were all waiting to meet the aliens. Sarah felt nervous, but she didn't show it. She stood straight and tall in her blue uniform. The door opened, and in came the aliens. They looked weird. One was tall and skinny with 4 arms. Another was short and round with eyes on stalks. There was even one that looked like a walking tree. The tallest alien, who had blue skin and no hair, spoke first. "Greetings, humans. I am Zorn, leader of the Galactic Council. We have been watching your planet for a long time. We think you are ready to join us in space." Sarah stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," she said in a strong voice. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen. We're happy to meet you." Zorn looked at Sarah. His big eyes blinked. "Ah, you must be in charge of Earth's Space Force." He said the words Space Force like they were funny. Sarah nodded. "That's right. We may be new to space travel, but we're learning fast." Zorn and the other aliens looked at each other. Then they started to laugh. It wasn't a nice laugh. It was the kind of laugh bullies use when they think someone is stupid. "Oh, little human," Zorn said, still laughing. "Your Space Force is like a child's toy to us. We have ships that can destroy stars. Your best ships can barely leave your own planet." Sarah felt her face get hot. She was angry, but she didn't show it. She remembered what the president said. "Don't let them know how you feel." "We may surprise you," Sarah said calmly. "Humans are good at learning new things." Zorn stopped laughing. He looked at Sarah with his big eyes. "Maybe," he said, "but for now, you need our help. The galaxy is a dangerous place. There are mean aliens out there who might want to hurt Earth. Join us, and we'll protect you." Sarah thought fast. This was tricky. The aliens were offering to help, but they were also saying Earth was weak. She didn't like that. "We thank you for your offer," Sarah said carefully. "But before we decide, we'd like to know more about this Galactic Council. How does it work? What would Earth's role be?" Zorn smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the kind of smile a cat gives a mouse before it eats it. "Of course," he said. "We'll tell you all about it. But first, why don't you show us your best spaceships? We'd love to see what Earth can do." Sarah knew this was a test. The aliens wanted to see how weak Earth was. But Sarah had a secret. A big secret. She smiled back at Zorn. "We'd be happy to show you our ships," she said. "In fact, we have a new one we're very proud of. Would you like to see it?" Zorn looked surprised. He didn't expect Sarah to agree so quickly. "Yes," he said slowly. "We would love to see your new ship." Sarah nodded. Excellent. Give us 1 week to prepare. Then we'll show you something that will change how you see Earth forever." The other world leaders looked at Sarah in shock. They didn't know about any new ship. What was she talking about? As the aliens left the room, Sarah took out her phone. She called a number that only 5 people in the world knew. "It's time," she said when someone answered. "Operation Dreadought is go." Sarah put her phone away and looked out the window. The alien ship was still there, big and shiny. But soon, Earth would have a ship of its own. A ship that would shock the whole galaxy. "Get ready, Zorn," Sarah whispered to herself. Earth is full of surprises. Sarah's secret mission. The next day, Sarah woke up early. She had a big job to do. She packed a small bag and left her house quietly. Outside, a black car was waiting for her. "Good morning, Captain," said the driver. "Ready for your trip?" Sarah nodded. "Let's go," she said. "We don't have much time." The car drove to a small airport. There, a plane-looking plane was waiting. But this wasn't a normal plane. It could fly much faster and higher than any other plane on Earth. Sarah got on the plane with 5 other people. They were her best crew. There was Mike, the smartest engineer Sarah knew. Lisa, who could fly anything. Tom, who was good with computers. Anna, the best doctor in the Space Force. And Jack, who knew everything about weapons. "All right, team," Sarah said as the plane took off. "You all know why we're here. Project Dreadought is no longer a secret. We need to get it ready in 1 week." The crew looked excited, but also worried. They had worked on this project for years, but in secret. Now they had to show it to the whole galaxy. The plane flew for hours. It went so high that the sky turned black, and they could see the curve of the Earth. Then they saw the moon. But they didn't go to the front of the moon that everyone can see from Earth. They went to the backside, the dark side that no one ever sees. There, hidden in a big crater, was a secret base. The plane landed inside a huge cave. When they got out, Sarah and her crew saw hundreds of people working. They were all busy with something big, something that was hidden under a giant cover. A tall man with gray hair came to meet them. It was Dr. James, the head scientist of Project Dreadought. "Captain Chen," he said, shaking Sarah's hand. "We got your message. Is it really time?" Sarah nodded. "The aliens are here, Dr. James. They think we're weak. We need to show them they're wrong." Dr. James smiled. "Well then, let's show you what we've been working on." He led them to the big covered thing. With a nod from Dr. James, workers pulled off the cover. Sarah and her crew gasped. In front of them was the biggest spaceship they had ever seen. It was long and sleek, with shiny black metal that seemed to eat the light. On the side, in big white letters, was the name, Dreadought. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered. Dr. James looked proud. "It's not just beautiful, Captain. It's the most advanced ship in the galaxy. The aliens won't know what hit them." For the next few hours, Dr. James showed them around the ship. It had rooms that could make any food they wanted, beds that could heal people while they slept, weapons that could shoot beams of energy hotter than the sun. But the most amazing thing was the engine. Dr. James called it the fold drive. "It doesn't just fly through space," he explained. "It folds space itself, like a piece of paper. We can cross the galaxy in days, not years." Sarah's crew was amazed. Mike the engineer kept touching the walls, like he couldn't believe it was real. Lisa the pilot was already asking to try the controls, but they didn't have time to enjoy it. They had work to do. "All right, team," Sarah said. "We have 1 week to learn how to use this ship. The aliens are waiting to laugh at us. Let's make sure we get the last laugh." For the next few days, Sarah and her crew worked harder than they ever had before. They learned how to use all the new technology. They practiced flying the ship in a big simulator. They even tried out the spacesuits, which could change color to match any background. But it wasn't easy. Sometimes things went wrong. Once, Tom pressed the wrong button, and all the lights in the ship went out. Another time, Jack accidentally fired a weapon that made a small moon rock explode. Through it all, Sarah kept her team focused. Remember, she would say, Earth is counting on us. The whole galaxy is watching. On the 6th day, Dr. James came to Sarah with a worried look. Captain, he said, we have a problem. The fold drive isn't working right. If we can't fix it, the ship won't be able to leave the moon. Sarah felt her heart sink. Without the fold drive, the Dreadnought was just a big, fancy-looking ship. It wouldn't impress the aliens at all. She gathered her team. Listen up, she said. We have a big problem. But I know we can fix it. Mike, you and Dr. James work on the fold drive. The rest of us will finish getting the ship ready. We're not giving up. They worked through the night. No one slept. They drank lots of coffee and worked until their eyes were red. Finally, just as the Earth was rising over the moon's horizon, they heard a cheer from the engine room. Mike came running out, his face dirty but happy. We did it, he shouted. The fold drive is working. Everyone cheered. Sarah felt a big smile on her face. They had done it. The Dreadnought was ready. As they stood there, tired but happy, Sarah's phone beeped. It was a message from Earth. The aliens were getting impatient. They wanted to see the Earth's ships now. Sarah looked at her team, then at the huge Dreadnought behind them. Well, she said, I think it's time we introduce ourselves to the galaxy. Let's show them what Earth can really do. As they boarded the ship, Sarah felt excited, but also a little scared. They were about to change history. The galaxy would never be the same after today. The huge doors of the secret base opened. The Dreadnought's engines started with a low hum that grew into a powerful roar. Take us up, Lisa, Sarah said. And with that, Earth's secret weapon rose into space, ready to shock the Galactic Council and change the balance of power forever. The cool new ship, the Dreadnought, shot out of the moon base like a bullet from a gun. In seconds, it was in space. Sarah and her crew felt a small push as the ship sped up, but it wasn't bad. The ship was so smooth, it felt like they were standing still. Wow, said Lisa, looking at the controls. This ship flies itself. Sarah nodded. That's right. But we still need you, Lisa. The ship is smart, but it needs a human touch. They looked out the big front window. The Earth was a blue marble in the distance. The moon was already far behind them. Okay, team, Sarah said. Let's see what this ship can do. Tom, start up all systems. Mike, check the engines. Anna, make sure the life support is working. Jack, get the weapons ready, just in case. Everyone got to work. As they checked their stations, they found more and more cool things about the ship. Tom found out that the ship's computer could think almost like a person. Hey guys, he called out. Watch this. He spoke to the air. Computer, tell me a joke. A nice voice came from nowhere. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Everyone laughed. Even Sarah smiled. Okay, that's cool, she said, but let's focus on the important stuff. Mike was having fun with the engines. Captain, you won't believe this, he said. The engines don't just push the ship. They can bend space. We can go faster than light. Sarah nodded. That's the fold drive Dr. James told us about. It's our secret weapon. Anna was checking out the medical bay. Her eyes were wide with wonder. This is amazing, she said. We have machines here that can heal any injury in minutes. And look at this. She held up a small device. This can cure diseases we thought were impossible to fix. Jack was like a kid in a candy store with all the weapons. Captain, we have lasers, plasma guns, and something called a gravity bomb. I don't know what it does, but it sounds awesome. Sarah was happy to see her team so excited. But she knew they had a job to do. All right, everyone. Playtime's over. We need to learn how to use all this stuff before we meet the aliens. For the next few hours, they practiced using all the new technology. They made the ship go super fast, then stop on a dime. They tested the weapons by shooting at some old satellites. They even tried out the spacesuits, which could change color like a chameleon. But it wasn't all fun and games. Some things were hard to understand. Once, Tom pressed a button, and all the gravity in the ship turned off. Everyone floated around until he could fix it. Another time, Jack was testing a weapon and accidentally shot a small laser. It bounced off all the shiny walls inside the ship, making everyone duck and cover. "Sorry," Jack yelled, as the laser finally hit a special wall that absorbed it. Sarah shook her head. "Be more careful, Jack. We don't want to blow ourselves up before we even meet the aliens." As they were practicing, Lisa noticed something on her screen. "Captain," she said, sounding worried. "There's a ship coming towards us. It's big, really big." Sarah rushed to look. On the screen, she saw a massive ship. It was at least 10 times bigger than the Dreadnought. It was shaped like a giant arrow and glowed with a strange blue light. "It's the aliens," Sarah said. "They must have seen us leave the moon." She turned to her crew. "This is it, people. Time to show them what we can do." The alien ship came closer. Soon, it was right in front of them. It was so big that it blocked out the stars. A voice came through their speakers. It was Zorn, the alien leader. "Well, well," he said, sounding amused. "Is this the best ship Earth has to offer?" "It's cute." Sarah felt her face get hot. She was angry, but she stayed calm. "This cute ship has a few surprises," she said. Zorn laughed. "Oh, I'm sure it does. Why don't you come aboard our ship? We'll give you a tour of what a real spaceship looks like." Sarah looked at her crew. They all nodded. They were ready. "We'd be happy to," Sarah said to Zorn. "But first, let us show you what the Dreadnought can do." Before Zorn could answer, Sarah gave a quick order. "Lisa, fold space. Take us around their ship in 1 second." Lisa grinned and pressed a button. Suddenly, the stars outside seemed to bend. There was a flash of light, and then they were behind the alien ship. "What?" Zorn's shocked voice came through the speakers. "How did you? That's impossible." Sarah smiled. "That's just the beginning," she said. "Tom, activate the cloaking device." Tom pressed another button. The Dreadnought shimmered and then disappeared. They could see the alien ship turning around, trying to find them. "Where are you?" Zorn demanded. He sounded scared now. "What kind of technology is this?" Sarah enjoyed the moment. Then she said, "Okay, Tom, turn us visible again." Right in front of their ship, the Dreadnought appeared suddenly, so close to the alien ship that they could see the shocked faces of the aliens through their windows. "Now," Sarah said calmly, "about that tour of your ship. We'd love to see it. And then, maybe you'd like to see what else the Dreadnought can do." There was a long silence. Then Zorn's voice came back, sounding very different. "Captain Chen," he said slowly, "I think we may have underestimated Earth. Perhaps we should talk more about this Galactic Council. As equals." Sarah looked at her crew. They were all smiling. They had done it. Earth wasn't the weak newcomer anymore. They were players in the galaxy now. "We'd be happy to talk, Zorn," Sarah said. "Let's start a new chapter in galactic history, together." As the two ships prepared to dock, Sarah felt proud. The cool new ship had done more than just impress the aliens. It had changed everything. And this was just the beginning of Earth's adventures in space. Adventure in space. After their meeting with Zorn and the Galactic Council, Sarah and her crew were ready for their first real space mission. The Council had asked them to check out a strange signal coming from a faraway planet. "All right, team," Sarah said as they prepared to leave. "This is our big chance to show what humans can do. Let's make Earth proud." Lisa set the course, and the Dreadnought zoomed off into deep space. As they traveled, the crew found ways to have fun with the ship's cool technology. Mike figured out how to use the food maker to create any food they wanted. "Who wants pizza?" he called out. Soon, the smell of fresh pizza filled the ship. Tom discovered a room that could make any place on Earth appear around them. "Check this out," he said, pressing buttons. Suddenly, they were standing on a beach, then in a forest, then on top of a mountain. "This is great for exercise," Anna said, jogging on the spot as the scenes changed. Even Jack found a fun use for the weapons room. He set up a target practice game where they had to shoot alien-shaped targets. "High score wins," he shouted. Sarah let her crew enjoy themselves. She knew that happy crew members worked better together. But she also made sure they practiced with the ship's systems every day. After a week of traveling, they arrived at the planet where the strange signal was coming from. It was a big purple planet with 3 moons. "Scan the planet, Tom," Sarah ordered. Tom looked at his screen and frowned. "That's weird," he said. "I'm picking up life signs, but they're moving around really fast. And there's something big in orbit around the planet." Suddenly, alarms started blaring. "Captain," Lisa yelled, "we've got company." 5 ships appeared out of nowhere. They were smaller than the Dreadnought, but they looked mean. They were shaped like sharp knives and glowed with an angry red light. A scratchy voice came through their speakers. "Well, well," it said. "What do we have here?" "A new ship to add to our collection." Sarah stood up straight. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Dreadnought. Who are you?" The voice laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. "We're the space pirates, little human, and your shiny new ship is about to become our property." The pirate ships started shooting at them. Red lasers flew past the Dreadnought. "Shields up," Sarah shouted. A blue bubble appeared around their ship, stopping the pirates' lasers. "What do we do, Captain?" Jack asked, his hands on the weapons controls. Sarah thought fast. "We can't let them take the ship," she said, "but we don't want to hurt them if we don't have to. Lisa, get us out of here." Lisa's hands flew over the controls. The Dreadnought spun around and zoomed away from the pirates. But the pirate ships were fast too. They chased after the Dreadnought, still shooting. "They're gaining on us," Tom yelled. Sarah had an idea. "Mike, can we use the fold drive for a short jump?" Mike nodded. "Yes, but it'll be tricky. We might end up anywhere." "Do it," Sarah ordered. Mike pressed some buttons. The stars outside seemed to stretch, and then suddenly they were somewhere else. The pirate ships were gone. Everyone cheered. But their happiness didn't last long. Guys," Anna said, pointing out the window. "Where are we?" They looked out and gasped. They were in the middle of a huge space junkyard. Old, broken ships and pieces of metal floated all around them. "This must be where the pirates keep the ships they steal," Sarah said. "Good job, Mike. You got us right where we needed to be." Suddenly, Tom's screen lit up. "Captain, I'm picking up that strange signal again. It's coming from there." He pointed at a giant ship in the middle of the junkyard. It was old and rusty, but they could see lights blinking inside. "That must be the pirates' base," Sarah said. "And I bet whatever's making that signal is in there." Just then, they heard engines. The pirate ships had found them. "What's the plan, Captain?" Lisa asked. Sarah looked at the pirate base, then at the approaching ships. She smiled. "I've got an idea," she said, "but it's a bit crazy." She quickly told her crew the plan. They all nodded, looking excited and a little scared. "Okay, let's do this," Sarah said. "Lisa, fly us towards that big piece of junk over there. Jack, get ready with the tractor beam. Tom, prepare to cloak the ship." The Dreadnought flew towards a big chunk of old spaceship. Just as they got close, Jack turned on the tractor beam, grabbing the junk. "Now, Lisa," Sarah shouted. Lisa made the ship spin around. The junk on their tractor beam swung with them, smashing into 2 of the pirate ships. "Cloak us, Tom," Sarah ordered. The Dreadnought disappeared just as the other pirate ships arrived. The pirates were confused. All they could see were their 2 damaged ships and a lot of floating junk. While the pirates were distracted, Sarah had Lisa fly the invisible Dreadnought to the pirate base. They attached to a docking port and snuck inside. Inside the base, they found a big room full of stolen things from all over the galaxy, and in the middle was a small, glowing box. That was what was making the strange signal. "It's a distress beacon," Tom said, looking at it closely. "From a ship that went missing 100 years ago." They took the beacon and left a note. "Sorry, pirates. Finders keepers. Love. Earth." Then they snuck back to their ship and flew away, still invisible. The pirates never knew what hit them. As they headed back to Earth, Sarah looked at her crew. They were tired, but happy. They had completed their first space mission, outsmarted space pirates, and solved a 100-year-old mystery. "Great job, everyone," Sarah said. "I think we've proved that humans can handle anything space throws at us." The crew cheered as the Dreadnought sped towards home, ready for their next big adventure in space. Showing off Earth's power. After their adventure with the space pirates, Sarah and her crew were called to a big meeting of the Galactic Council. It was time to show everyone what Earth could do. The Dreadnought arrived at the Council's space station. It was huge, like a city floating in space. Ships from all over the galaxy were there. "Wow," said Mike, looking out the window. "I've never seen so many different alien ships." Sarah nodded. "Remember, team, we're here to make Earth proud. Let's show them what we can do." They docked their ship and walked into a big room full of aliens. Some had tentacles, some had multiple eyes, and some didn't even look like they had bodies at all. Zorn, the blue alien they had met before, came to greet them. "Welcome, humans," he said. "The Council is eager to see what your ship can do." Sarah smiled. "We're happy to show them," she said. "What did you have in mind?" Zorn led them to a big window. Outside, they could see a field of asteroids. "We've set up a test," he said. "Your ship against our best pilot. Let's see who can clear the asteroid field faster." Sarah looked at her team. They all nodded. "We accept," she said. They went back to the Dreadnought. Lisa sat in the pilot's seat, looking excited. "This is going to be fun," she said. The test began. A sleek, purple ship zoomed out from the station. It was piloted by a 6-armed alien who was supposed to be the best in the galaxy. And, "Go!" Zorn's voice came through their speakers. The purple ship shot forward, weaving between asteroids. It was fast and smooth. But Lisa was ready. She pushed the Dreadnought's controls forward. Their ship moved like it was alive, dancing between the big space rocks. "Yahoo!" Lisa yelled as she made the ship do a flip over a big asteroid. The aliens watching from the station were amazed. They had never seen a ship move like that before. Halfway through the field, the purple ship was still ahead. But Lisa had a trick up her sleeve. "Hang on, everyone," she said with a grin. She pressed a special button. Suddenly, the space around the Dreadnought seemed to bend. In a flash, they were at the end of the asteroid field. "What was that?" Tom asked, his eyes wide. "I used the fold drive for a short jump," Lisa said. "It's not cheating if they didn't say we couldn't use it." The Council was shocked. Zorn's mouth was open so wide they thought his jaw might fall off. "Impossible," one alien shouted. "No ship can move through space like that." Sarah stepped up to the ship's communicator. "Not impossible," she said. "Just human ingenuity at work." The Council members started talking all at once. Some were excited, some were scared, and some were angry. Zorn finally got everyone to be quiet. "Well," he said, sounding impressed, "it seems we underestimated you, humans. But surely your ship can't be good at everything." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Try us," she said. The next test was a battle simulation. The Dreadnought had to fight off waves of hologram enemy ships. Jack was in his element. He fired the ship's weapons with perfect aim, taking out enemy after enemy. "Look at this," he shouted. He pressed a button and a swarm of small drones flew out of the Dreadnought. They surrounded an enemy ship and blew it up. The aliens were amazed again. They had never seen weapons like these before. But the real surprise came when a huge hologram ship appeared. It was 10 times bigger than the Dreadnought. "Ha," said an alien with spikes all over its body. "Let's see your little ship handle this." Jack just smiled. He pressed another button. A small ball shot out from the Dreadnought. It floated towards the giant ship. Suddenly, the big ship started to crumple like a piece of paper. In seconds, it had shrunk to the size of a toy. What was that?" Zorn asked, his voice shaking. "Gravity bomb," Jack said proudly. "Increases gravity in a small area. Makes big things very small." The council was silent. They couldn't believe what they had seen. The last test was for the ship's scientist. The council gave Anna a sample of a strange space virus. They said no one had ever been able to cure it. Anna went to work in the Dreadnought's lab. She used the ship's advanced computers and her own smart brain. After an hour, she came out with a small vial. "Here you go," she said. "One cure for your space virus." The council's scientists tested it. Their eyes got big, all 27 of them, when they saw the results. It's perfect," one of them said. "How did you do it so fast?" Anna shrugged. "Earth might be new to space, but we're pretty good at science," she said. By the end of the day, the council had seen the Dreadnought fold space, win battles, and cure diseases. They were more than impressed. They were amazed. Zorn called Sarah and her crew to a special meeting. All the most important aliens were there. "Humans," Zorn said, "we owe you an apology. We thought you were primitive. We were wrong. Your ship, the Dreadnought, is the most advanced we've ever seen." Sarah stood tall. "Thank you," she said. "Earth is ready to join the galactic community as equals." An alien with 3 heads spoke up. "Equals," it said. "After what we've seen, you might be the most advanced species in the galaxy." Everyone started talking excitedly. They all wanted to make deals with Earth now. They wanted to trade, to learn, to be friends. As Sarah looked around the room, she felt proud. They had done it. Earth wasn't just part of the galactic community now. They were leaders. "Well, team," she said to her crew, "I think we've made quite an impression. Who's ready for our next adventure?" The crew cheered. They couldn't wait to see what the galaxy had in store for them next. With the Dreadnought, they were ready for anything. Arrival at the Galactic Hub. After showing off Earth's power, Sarah and her crew were invited to the Galactic Hub. This was the center of all alien activity in the galaxy. No human had ever been there before. "This is it, team," Sarah said as they approached. "We're making history today." As the Dreadnought got closer, everyone's jaws dropped. The Galactic Hub was enormous. It wasn't just a space station. It was a whole group of planets and moons, all connected by shiny tubes and floating cities. "Wow," Mike whispered. "It's like a whole solar system in one place." Thousands of ships were flying around. Some were as small as cars. Others were so big they looked like flying mountains. A voice came through their speakers. "Earth Ship Dreadnought, welcome to the Galactic Hub. Please follow the green light to your docking station." Lisa carefully flew the ship towards a green beam of light. It led them to a huge docking bay inside one of the floating cities. As they landed, they saw crowds of aliens waiting for them. Some looked excited. Others looked nervous. "Remember," Sarah said to her crew, "we're the first humans these aliens have ever seen. Let's make a good impression." They walked out of the ship. The alien crowd went quiet. Then one little alien child pointed at them and said something. Suddenly, everyone was talking and moving closer. "They're so pink. Look at their funny hair. Do they really only have 2 arms? How do they get anything done?" Sarah held up her hands. The aliens went quiet again. "Hello," she said in a loud, clear voice. "We are the representatives from Earth. We're honored to be here." A tall alien with green skin and 4 arms stepped forward. "Welcome, humans," it said. "I am Salax, the leader of the Galactic Hub. We have much to discuss." Salax led them through the floating city. Everywhere they went, aliens stopped to stare at them. Some tried to touch their hair or skin. They came to a big room with a round table. Aliens of all shapes and sizes were sitting there. Sarah and her crew sat down too. "Now then," Salax said, "let's talk about Earth joining the galactic community." For the next few hours, they talked about trade, technology, and laws. Some aliens wanted to visit Earth. Others wanted to learn about human culture. But not everyone was happy. One alien, who looked like a big rock with eyes, spoke up. "How do we know we can trust them?" it rumbled. "Their ship is too powerful. They could be a threat." The room got tense. Sarah stood up. "We understand your concerns," she said. "Earth is new to the galactic stage. But we come in peace. We want to learn and grow with all of you." She thought for a moment, then had an idea. "How about this? We'll share some of our technology with you. In return, you teach us about your cultures and sciences. We can all become stronger together." The aliens started talking excitedly. They liked this idea. Salax nodded. "A wise suggestion," it said. "But to truly join our community, you must pass the 3 trials of trust." Sarah looked at her crew. They nodded. "We accept," she said. "What are these trials?" Salax explained. The first trial was the trial of knowledge. The second was the trial of courage. The third was the trial of compassion. "You have 1 day to prepare," Salax said. "The trials begin tomorrow." That night, the crew got ready. Tom studied all the information they had about alien cultures. Jack practiced with different weapons. Anna packed medical supplies. The next day, they gathered for the first trial. It was a huge quiz about galactic history and culture. Thanks to Tom's studying, they answered every question right. The aliens were impressed. "They learned so fast," one whispered. The second trial was a dangerous obstacle course. They had to work together to get through traps and solve puzzles. Jack's quick thinking and Lisa's piloting skills got them through. "Incredible teamwork," Salax said, nodding approval. The last trial was the hardest. They were shown a planet in trouble. A big storm was destroying cities. They had to figure out how to save everyone. Sarah thought hard. Then she had an idea. "We can use the Dreadnought's gravity controls to calm the storm," she said, "and its medical bay can help the injured." Anna spoke up. "We can also teach them how to predict these storms in the future," she added. The aliens were amazed. Not only did the humans want to solve the immediate problem, but they also wanted to help prevent future disasters. "This is true compassion," Salax said. "You have passed all 3 trials. Earth is now officially part of the galactic community." Everyone cheered. Aliens came up to shake their hands, or tentacles, or wings. Suddenly, alarms started blaring. A scared-looking alien ran into the room. "Emergency," it shouted. "The Zorgans are attacking the outer rim." The room went quiet. Sarah saw fear on every alien face. "Who are the Zorgans?" she asked. Salax looked grim. "The greatest threat our galaxy has ever known," it said. "No one has ever defeated them in battle." Sarah looked at her crew. They all nodded. They knew what they had to do. "Maybe it's time for Earth to show what we can really do," Sarah said. "The Dreadnought is ready to help." The aliens looked at them with hope and worry. "Are you sure?" Salax asked. "The Zorgans are incredibly dangerous." Sarah stood tall. "Earth is part of this community now," she said. "Your problems are our problems. We're ready to fight for our new allies." As they walked back to the Dreadnought, ready for their biggest challenge yet, Sarah felt proud. Earth had arrived on the galactic stage. Now it was time to show the whole galaxy what humans could do. The adventure was just beginning. A new galactic order. The Dreadnought raced through space, heading towards the outer rim. Sarah and her crew were ready for their biggest challenge yet. The Zorgons. What do we know about these Zorgons? Sarah asked Selax, who had joined them for the mission. Selax looked worried. They're ruthless conquerors, it said. Their ships are like nothing we've ever seen. They can eat whole planets. The crew looked at each other. This sounded scary, but they were determined. As they got closer to the outer rim, they saw the damage. Whole planets were broken. Ships were floating in pieces. There, Tom shouted, pointing at the screen. I see the Zorgon ships. Everyone gasped. The Zorgon ships were huge, like metal squids with sharp tentacles. They were attacking a small planet. We have to stop them, Sarah said. Lisa, get us closer. Jack, ready the weapons. The Dreadnought moved towards the Zorgon ships. Suddenly, a voice boomed through their speakers. Foolish creatures, it said. You dare to challenge the Zorgons. Prepare to be destroyed. One of the Zorgon ships turned towards them. It shot out a beam of green light. Evasive maneuvers, Sarah shouted. Lisa made the Dreadnought roll to the side. The green beam missed them by inches. Our turn, Jack said with a grin. He fired the Dreadnought's weapons. Lasers and missiles hit the Zorgon ship, but when the smoke cleared, the ship was barely scratched. Impossible, Mike said. Our weapons should have destroyed it. The Zorgons laughed. Your puny weapons cannot harm us, they said. Now, witness our power. The Zorgon ship's tentacles started to glow. Suddenly, they shot out, growing longer and longer. They wrapped around a nearby planet. To everyone's horror, the planet started to shrink. The Zorgon ship was eating it. We have to do something, Anna cried. Sarah thought hard. Then she had an idea. Mike, she said, can we use the fold drive to make a small wormhole? Mike's eyes widened. Yes, but, oh, I see what you're thinking. That's brilliant. Quickly, they put the plan into action. The Dreadnought flew close to the Zorgon ship. Then Mike activated the fold drive in a special way. A small hole in space opened up right next to the Zorgon ship. The other end of the hole was near a huge star. The star's gravity started pulling on the Zorgon ship. Its tentacles let go of the planet as it struggled against the pull. Now, Jack, Sarah shouted. Jack fired a gravity bomb. It hit the Zorgon ship, making it super heavy. With a screech of twisting metal, the Zorgon ship was pulled through the wormhole. There was a bright flash as the Zorgon ship was thrown into the star. When the light faded, the ship was gone. Everyone cheered. But their celebration was short. There were still more Zorgon ships to deal with. The next few hours were a blur of action. The Dreadnought zoomed between Zorgon ships, using its speed and clever tricks to defeat enemies much bigger than itself. They used the fold drive to confuse the Zorgons, appearing and disappearing around them. They used gravity bombs to crush some ships and throw others into each other. Anna even found a way to use the medical-based technology to disrupt the Zorgons' communications. Without their ability to work together, the Zorgon ships became easy targets. Finally, after what seemed like days of fighting, it was over. The last Zorgon ship exploded in a ball of fire. The crew of the Dreadnought were tired but happy. They had done it. They had defeated the unbeatable enemy. As they flew back to the Galactic hub, ships from all over the galaxy came to meet them. Aliens cheered and waved from their windows. At the hub, a huge crowd was waiting. Salax stepped forward, its eyes shining with tears of joy. Humans, it said, you have saved us all. How can we ever thank you? Sarah smiled. We're just glad we could help, she said. That's what being part of a community means. Salax nodded. Then it turned to the crowd. My fellow beings, it announced, I think it's clear that the galaxy needs a new type of leadership, one that is brave, clever, and kind. It turned back to Sarah and her crew. Humans of Earth, it said, will you lead the new Galactic Defense Force? The crew was shocked. This was a big deal. They looked at Sarah. Sarah thought for a moment. Then she nodded. We would be honored, she said, but on one condition. We lead together, as equals, every species, working together to protect our galaxy. The aliens cheered. They loved this idea. And so, a new era began. The Galactic Defense Force was formed, with the Dreadought as its flagship. Aliens from all over the galaxy joined, eager to learn from the humans, and work together. Earth became a center of galactic culture. Aliens visited to try human food, listen to human music, and learn human languages. Humans, in turn, learned amazing things from their new alien friends. As for Sarah and her crew, they had many more adventures. They explored new worlds, made first contact with new species, and kept the galaxy safe from any who would threaten peace. Sometimes, when they had a quiet moment, they would remember how it all started, how the Galactic Council had laughed at Earth's military until they saw the Dreadought. Now, no one was laughing. Instead, they were working together, building a better galaxy for everyone. As the Dreadought flew through space on its next mission, Sarah looked at her crew, her friends. Well, team, she said with a smile, ready for our next adventure. They all grinned back. They were ready for anything. After all, they were the crew of the Dreadought. And in this big, amazing galaxy, anything was possible.